Hey everyone, I'm Alice Brown and welcome back to Scrumptious Table. If you're new here, I'm a mom of 2 wild toddlers and about to be 3 because I'm 39 weeks pregnant. In my short moments of quiet, I love to get creative in the kitchen, and my latest project was a 15-day challenge to master the tulip in my morning latte. Today I'm sharing all the secrets, struggles, and successes. Let's get into it. If you haven't already watched the shorts that I made of me attempting to do a tulip every day, then I'd encourage you to go through and watch those because it's kind of hilarious how bad they were and then how good they eventually got. But the whole reason for me starting that challenge was because I have this espresso machine that I really enjoy. I like making lattes, but I've struggled with making the latte art for probably over 2 years. Once in a while I would get a cute little heart, but it was very rarely. I was determined to figure out why it wasn't working and start making my lattes a little bit more pretty each morning. I feel like I've been successful in that goal, so I wanted to share a little bit of what I've learned along the way. The equipment I'm using was one of the last things that I changed during my challenge, but I think it was the thing that made the biggest difference for me. This milk pitcher that I started with is very large and the spout is not very pointed, but this second one that I bought has a more pointed spout, makes it easier for pouring the art. And it's also smaller in size, so it allows me to be more specific with the amount of milk that I use. The cups that I started with were just regular coffee mugs. And then I moved on to this wider cup that's shorter that I thought would be easier. But then I got several suggestions to change my cup to a more rounded shape that's shorter with more of a bowl type shape at the bottom. I do think this cup made a big difference as well. So I thought it would be good to show you the difference between the old equipment that I was using and the new equipment that I bought. This steam pitcher is the old one with an excessive amount of milk and a larger cup with a smaller opening at the top. This caused a lot more of the bigger bubbles to form because I was pouring from so much higher, and I had to get it so close to the edge of the cup before I started making the art. Also, this pitcher would make a huge mess as I pour because I couldn't be as precise. But even with using my old equipment, that was a lot better pour than I got at the beginning of my challenge. You can already tell at the very beginning of this pour that it's easier to control where the milk goes. Plus, the shape of this cup allows me to pour without all those big bubbles. It's pretty easy to tell that I'm not a master at this yet, but changing these tools really helped me. Moving on to steaming the milk. The first thing I'm going to show you is when I let too much air into the milk. It creates way too much foam and is a lot harder to make art. Overall, not too bad, but it's hard to give it any definition and make it any better than this. The next thing I'm going to show you is when I don't let enough air into the milk. It still heats up the milk, but it makes it impossible to do anything pretty with it. This next one I'm going to show you is when I don't swirl the pitcher after I steam the milk. I just go straight to pouring. And this one really didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would, which was a huge surprise and very interesting to me. But I thought I'd go ahead and show a side-by-side shot of when I actually swirl the milk and get the foam mixed in. So this one's pretty much a fail on the pour itself, but I do think that the milk looks a lot better. The next thing we're talking about is the espresso. It's the foundation of the latte art, and we wouldn't really be able to do it very well without it. I do all the steps the way that I'm supposed to, grind the beans, tamp down the espresso, pull the shot, but I know for a fact that my espresso needs a lot of work. There are several things that I'd like to change about my setup, but I'm just not there yet. I'd like to get a new portafilter, which is that thing that I just put in the machine, and I'd like to get a better grinder to grind the beans at a more precise fineness. But I think the first way I'd like to improve my espresso is to get better coffee beans. I just buy the regular Starbucks brand coffee beans from Walmart, and I think if I got it directly from a roastery, it would be fresher and a lot better quality of espresso. This shot was really weird in and of itself because it seemed like all the espresso was going through one side, and it really should be a more even pour than that. These next two shots were a lot more evenly spaced out, but I still feel like my espresso machine allows too much water to go through, and I would like it to be a more concentrated espresso. This challenge was more about making pretty art than anything else, so since my espresso is not perfect, I found that if I add caramel or chocolate to the base of the cup and mix it in with the espresso, it allows my pour to be a lot more artistic and pretty. So first I'm going to show you what it looks like to add this caramel, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like to add chocolate syrup. This one's really satisfying. It's super creamy and it allows the microfoam in the milk to really shine through. Next, of course, is chocolate, and I make sure that it's fully mixed in with the espresso before I actually start pouring. This one has a more unique texture because it separates from the milk in a different way, and I still think it's very pretty. Alright, so let's put it all together. You've got your equipment, you've got your espresso, optionally you've added a sweetener, your milk is steamed. Now you want to tilt your cup so that there's a deeper place to pour, and pour straight in that deepest part of the cup. swirl it around to get a pretty base, and then you work on your art. As I've already mentioned, I'm not a professional at this yet, so I still have a flop once in a while. Whenever that happens, I just like to experiment with the rest of the milk in my cup, see how it pours into the latte, see what the drips look like. That way it's not a wasted amount of espresso. I can just experiment and try new things. Now let's try this again. I'm going to swirl the espresso around just to get things mixed in again. I'm going to tilt the cup so that there's a deeper place to pour. I'm going to start with my milk pitcher up high and pour it down lower when I'm starting the art itself. To start my tulip, I get as close to the espresso as I can with the pitcher, and it allows this white blob to show through. So I make a bunch of those and then pull my pitcher up and through the blobs to make a stem. That's a wrap on my 15-day tulip challenge. If I've learned anything in this video, it's that practice matters more than any of the other components. It just goes to show that with a little bit of practice and a lot of patience, you can accomplish anything. If you're inspired to start your own latte art journey, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching and for being a part of our Scrumptious Table family. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more creative kitchen adventures. I'll see you in the next video, which will hopefully be a baby update.